In the media, I think older women are still represented as weak, the weaker sex. Most of the ads that you see are for aging women that fall and hurt themselves and have to call for help. It's not really reflected in a positive light. It makes me feel that aging is, especially in the United States, aging is really frowned upon, and society doesn't really take care of the elderly. They're much more focused on youth, beauty, fitness. Society wants women to always look the best they can look, no matter what. You're having a bad day, you're still supposed to smile and just kind of take it in stride. You're always supposed to look your best and present a positive image, even if you don't feel like it. Men, since they don't lose hormones going through menopause like women do, they age much better. They are seen as more distinguished with gray hair. Myself, I have gray hair. I refuse to dye it because I don't think your hair color should determine how young you look. And a woman is supposed to keep that norm where she's beautiful all the time, makeup, colored hair, thin, manicures, and men just have it so easy. Men are not judged on how they look as they age, where women are absolutely. When I was growing up, I was thin and flat-chested, and I was very self-conscious about that. So whenever I went to the beach, I always wore a t-shirt. I would have a two-piece bathing suit, but I always wore a t-shirt, and kind of self-conscious because I could see other people were developing differently, but that's just something you have to accept for yourself. Like, everybody is different. I work really hard. I eat well. I try to take care of myself, and I just thought that my body style for me is this is what I have, and this is what I have to work with. I'm not comparing myself to anybody else. I'm comparing myself to what I want myself to look like.
I think women of color are represented as like the other in the media, like white men and white women, but especially white men are the norm. And like whenever you hear a story, you just assume it's about a white man. Like they have to, really emphasize that it's like a woman, and especially a woman of color. You see like a wide variety of like men's body shapes being like valuable to the media. Like there's like the whole range from like a Zac Efron looking man to like a Jonah Hill looking man. And like, sure, they make like fat jokes about Jonah Hill, but they're not like, he still has value outside of being fat. But that doesn't happen with women. Every few months I'll try and like delete Instagram to just like get, I feel like, a more real image of like what women actually look like, because the majority of women do not look like what people look like on Instagram. Like, I don't even look like what I look like on Instagram, so I think it really, like, affects women's body image. I know a lot of my friends struggle with eating disorders, and even those who don't struggle with, like, clearly defined eating disorders, I know a lot of people who have disordered eating, and just other problems like that, like, really spill into your mental health. And maybe it's not disordered eating, but, like, you have anxiety about how you look, or another like mix of things, because I think they're very closely intertwined. I try and remind myself that I'm healthy and that's what matters, and as long as I'm eating well and exercising a reasonable amount, that it doesn't matter what my body looks like. I think as a mixed race person, I've dealt with a lot of like body image issues because there's not a lot of people that I look like. It's like I'm either not Asian enough or I'm not white enough. In my own personal life, there's like a lot of Asian women that I can look up to, but I think what's challenging is the Asian women that I do see in the media are extremely fetishized, and that's something that then like I try not to put onto myself, but other people put onto me, which is disgusting. All standards of beauty are very Eurocentric unless you're actively trying to not be Eurocentric. And that's something that I've had to deal with, is not just forcing myself to look as white as possible, because that shouldn't be the standard of beauty. I started dyeing my hair blonde in college, and everyone would tell me how great it looks, and I feel like it was just me trying to adapt to look more white. So I've recently dyed my hair back to the natural color. I'm not trying to look as white as possible. And I know it's like a small thing, like people get highlights in their hair, like to some people it might not mean anything, but it's pretty symbolic to me of accepting who I am and that I am Asian.
In the media, I think women of color are typically represented as second class to Caucasian women or women that fit societal norms. With social media specifically, it's so easy to compare yourself to celebrities and influencers that travel the world for free or receive products and experiences for free simply because they fit within society's stereotypical definition of what beauty is. It makes you wonder, even if only subconsciously, if the reason why you haven't been presented with those same opportunities is because you don't look like those people, whether it's because you're not thin enough, tone enough, pretty enough. There are definitely different beauty standards for men and women. Most women are programmed from a very early age to care about their outward appearance in order to attract a partner, whereas men are rarely ever told to do the same. The idea of chasing after my own perfect, quote-unquote perfect body has attributed to issues I've faced with accepting the body I've been given and the body I have now. The older I get, though, the more I have come to accept and genuinely be happy with every aspect of my body. I don't think I necessarily do one specific thing to remind myself that my body image is valid. As unrealistic as it sounds, I pretty much woke up one day and told myself that I was finally happy with myself. I think that's the first step you need to take in order to validate anything about yourself, self-acceptance. As I've gotten older, I've come to accept and actually appreciate my body. I just feel stronger, healthier, and curvier, all things that I like about myself. Is it perfect? In someone else's eyes, probably not, but what I think and how I feel about myself holds a greater weight. For girls struggling with body image, I'd let them know that things will get better. One day you won't feel judged because you'll know that what you think about yourself matters way more than some idiot you met at a bar or some jerk you sit next to in class. Just remember that everyone has a journey and everyone has their own struggles.